Hello, believers. Welcome back to the show. Great to be with you again. I hope your February was a good one. What's been going off? Mainly just trying to figure out what's going on with celebrity greengrocer Greg Wallace, isn't it? Amongst other things. I'm at Edinburgh Castle today. Currently in kind of this dungeon sort of area. First time I've been here actually. Inside the castle walls. Lots of rooms with swords in. A couple of cannons. Some nice views up over the whole of Edinburgh. Haven't been in the problematic new Red Coat Cafe though, giving that a wide clearance. Anyway, we're back. It's the second half of season 1, believe me. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is a podcast where I speak to creative people about what they think and how they think and what they think of the X-Files. Today's guest, who I can definitely imagine storming the battlements with a sword and a pistol in his hand, it's the Glasgow-based actor and producer Simon Weir. Simon is best known, in Scotland at least, for his portrayal of bad boy Paul Lafferty in the long-running series High Road. He's appeared in over 50, actually it's probably more like 70 now, TV shows such as Monarch, Glen and Target, then recently Crime and Guilt, Patrick Melrose, Doctors, been in Emmerdale, loads of stuff. You'll have also have seen him in films such as The Football Factory, Acid House, T2 Trainspotting, and also my short film. Thank you very much, Simon, for jumping in a lake of freezing water for that. He's also no stranger to the stage, both as an actor and a producer. I'll put a link to his bio in the description of this episode because it's very impressive. In the conversation we have, Simon talks about treating acting jobs like football, typecasting, shifts in the film, TV and theatre industry, his eyebrows, where he gets all his energy from, Bollywood, and how he's been embraced by Bollywood, dealing with rejection, and of course we get to chatting about X-Files Season 1, Episode 13, Beyond the Sea. He's a force of nature, Simon, so strap in for just a myriad of brilliant observations and stories from his life. We've got a great second half of Season 1 to come for the podcast. Guests from the worlds of cinema and comedy and books and art and all manner of creative backgrounds. So I'm looking forward to having you with us for those conversations over the next few weeks. As always, if you like the show, do drop me a line at believemepod@gmail.com. Like and subscribe. Actually, I don't think we're not on Facebook, so just follow us on X. Yeah, that'd be good. And Instagram. Give us a review or rating. A nice review, please, if you can. On Apple, where you get your podcasts. I'm going to end up being locked in this dungeon the way I'm carrying on. So enough of my gabbing. Without further ado, here's Simon.
I've just opened up a wee fashion store, so I've opened that up again. I told you last time. Yeah, I've opened that. I had them years ago. My wife and I, her background was fashion, so I think I was doing River City at the time, the BBC soap opera, and we fancied in the wee fashion business, and we opened a store in the West End of Glasgow, just off Byres Road, which is kind of sort of fashionable, funky West End area. And it did really well. It was down a lane just off Byres Road, which for those who don't know, Byres Road, it's mostly an eating, drinking, kind of going out place. And that's where I grew up. So we'd been in London for years, came back up. As I said, her background was fashion. We found a lovely wee shop and we opened up this fashion store, and it became really successful. Right. So it was a cult kind of business. And then we stupidly moved not 500 yards up the road, just past Botanic Gardens, to Queen Margaret Drive, where we got a lovely new shop. It was the first shop was in like a covered market. The second one was a main door, tenements, Oh, lovely, lovely, beautiful building, beautiful.
And the rent was about 3 times as much, was it?
It wasn't. The rent was half.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because it was run by a charity. And of course, what happens is the person who runs the charity dies, the charity is dissolved, and I'm going to swear, a bastard of hell takes over.
Right. God.
Quadruples the rent overnight.
Oh, shit. Right.
So we suddenly got landed with it. And also we'd lost all our customers. We moved 500 yards, but nobody went past Botanic Gardens. So we lost all our old customers. And we haven't done it now. We closed it, eventually wrapped the business. Haven't done it for about 12 years. I was rehearsing a show in Bad, which is a sort of music venue and rehearsal rooms, a really great place in the middle of the Barrowlands in the East End of Glasgow. And noticed that the market, the Barras market, underneath the Barrowland Ballroom, for all music lovers, it's owned by the same people, that was available, and there was some little units in there, and it's become young and funky, and there was all sorts of cool businesses going in there. So we had a look. I said, we're just going to get a stall, maybe start, find some old suppliers and then just open it. And we got shown a lovely outdoor shop unit, jumped at it and took it. And I've been there since March the 9th. And the wonderful thing about it is it's only 2 days a week. It's only Saturday, Sunday we're open. So it's allowed me to carry on with all my film work all year.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really busy. It's been really, really good. But just the last couple of days, it has been possibly like standing in Alaska. It's so cold. You're exposed to all the elements. So much as it's lovely and glamorous and funky stuff, it's cold as a witch's tit.
Yeah, there's a unique wind in Glasgow every time I go there. It's like really drives you mad after a while, doesn't it? It's like,
do you know what? Edinburgh's worse. I was there the other night for a film screening, and there's that wind that comes off the East Coast. It just blows right up Leith Walk. So it's just as bad, but it's a cold country, Scotland, and it's cold in the winter. Yeah.
So is there a sort of how are you? I hate the word curating, but how are you curating the fashion store then? Is it a certain type of look you're going for? Is it all different styles of clothes you're shopping, or is it like, do I know what I'm going to get if I'm going to go to Simon's place? What sort of stuff?
The theme behind it was my favourite ever goal was Zico against Scotland in 1982 World Cup. Scotland scored early. David Neary hit a screamer called a toe bash, controversially, hit a screamer from outside the box, top corner. Scotland went 1-0 up. 1982 World Cup against the best team who never won the World Cup.
Right.
Very quickly afterwards, as he ran back to halfway, Graham Souness ran up to him and said, "Nice one, you've made them angry." And 4 goals later, Scotland were out of the World Cup. But it was an amazing game, and there was this goal that Alan Ruff was in goals for Scotland, and Zico hit a free kick, and Ruff didn't move. It just went boom, top corner, just bent round, top corner.
Yeah.
And years later, I played in a charity game at Livingston's ground for Take the High Road team against Dukla Pumferson, they called this sort of celebrity charity football team. And Alan Ruff was in goals, and I never scored. I was a terrible player. And the ball came over, I got a cross from Alan McHugh, and I hit it on a half volley, and it went top corner. Ruff didn't move. And he turned around and called me, "Can I swear properly on this?"
You can, yeah, you're welcome to.
"Fucking Zico," he says. So for one day of my life, I was nicknamed Zico. Therefore, my shop is called Zico Fashion Boutique.
Oh, very good.
So I tried to concentrate more on Brazil, Argentina, world football, South American teams, North American teams like New York Cosmos, Johan Cruyff, all Mario Kempes, all the heroes from the 70s and 80s, when I think football was at its best, when they weren't just racehorses, when they were guys who smoked, drank, and shagged everything and still would score 3.
The good old days, mate. Yeah,
it is. I'm against modern football, so I sell I even sell the Tango football, the best football ever invented. It's a closed shop, and I sell footballs in it. So it's a weird mix of fashion, film, football, and my wife chooses all the women's stuff. And that is like couture. It's beautiful clothing.
Yeah.
We found some really, really good suppliers. I've got a European license now, so we're getting stuff in from Amsterdam. We've got some stuff arriving from Paris. So from a job that's 2 days a week, it's now becoming half the week as well. And we're tempted to get another shop. But I've been looking at some. I was actually looking at a shop this morning. But at the moment, I think we're going to stay where we are. And we're also in a shopping centre. We're also up in the Glasgow Fort, the Leith Collective. So we're starting to branch out a little bit and supply them. So it's good. It's a lovely wee side business to have. And I think when we did it first, we were probably 10, 15 years ahead. That's now the style. It's guys my age, it's guys 40s and 50s who sort of hark back to their teenage years and football growing up. So it's still cool t-shirts, and it's mostly football kind of themed t-shirts. and tracky tops and things.
Yeah, as most of my bloke mates will tell you, my football knowledge is very limited. But I had a work trip to Venice recently, and they were all like, "Oh, you got to get one of those kits, like Venetian FC." They're like apparently like the height of fashion to try and get one of those. And like all these, because every time I go into like a newspaper, a corner shop now, there's like a kind of high end football / fashion magazine or something. Like it's gone trendy.
Yeah, there's loads. It's because ours is, we do casual subculture basically. So it's the football terracing culture. What trainers did they wear? You know, so most of I've got this great handball T-shirt from Casual Subculture, and it's that thing exactly. It's your favorite Adidas collection, your Puma collection. Growing up with these things, these guys have now got a bit of disposable cash, and that's what they hark after. So the T-shirts are very much a reminder of that. And football before, it's kind of against modern football. Football and fashion for me have always gone hand in hand. And then the sort of link I've got as well with I do a lot of sort of film stuff as well. And I met Tarantino one time when he came to Glasgow. We'd queued up for ages.
Oh shit!
Yeah, my wife was because she's really, really beautiful girl, and the press came up to us and asked if she would come in and do a photo shoot with them first before they opened the door. So we skipped a queue, and I had a bag of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction T-shirts, the Banksy ones, and everything that we had at the time. So we queued up photographs. It was a great photo shoot with Tarantino because he was promoting Death Proof at the time in Glasgow, and I gave him that. He signed the script for us, and I gave him the bag, and he looked like I was giving him a bomb. What's that, man? What's in the bag? What's in the bag, man? What's in the bag? I mean, it's a fucking T-shirt, man. Jesus. And my CV's inside there as well. And he burst out laughing. I mean, I never heard from him since, but I got my CV to him.
Yeah, you should have got your feet out, mate. He's only interested in feet.
Exactly. He loves his feet. He loves feet. Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't my feet he would have been interested in, though. Exactly.
That's hilarious. That's brilliant.
But no, it was great. It's been great fun. So I like something that's away from the acting as well. I mean, nobody knew I was an actor down there until somebody figured it out, and it kind of went round. So what I love about it is people just come to talk about football and fashion, and it's a nice sideline to have. And and it allows me obviously the freedom to go and do the stuff I want, because I am an awful employee. I've been fired from every job I had, and my wife doesn't like flowers now because every time I would come home, I had a bunch of flowers in my hand. I'd been fired.
Sure,
and walked out.
Yeah.
So every time it was not again. Yeah, sorry, Dan. Here we go again. Yeah.
So are you, I mean, you strike me as someone who's always very busy, just a bit likes to be busy.
At the moment, I'm now, thankfully, between jobs. I'm really lucky because I've been doing it since I was 12 years old. So I've done a lot. You know, I've done. I'm up to. I'm kind of hitting targets now. So I'm going for 100 films. You know, I'm going for like 70 TV shows and things. So I'm now just target driven.
Yeah.
Before I die, I thought I'm just going to try and just I'm trying to do a sort of Christopher Lee and get as many as I can. But I've got a lot to kind of fall back on, and a lot of people that then hire me again because they've worked with me a few times before. So that's been great. I've kind of also sort of weirdly gone into becoming a Bollywood star as well, which has been great in the last couple of years.
Oh, I saw this because I was doing a bit of research before we chatted, and I was like, what? I want to ask you about this. So tell me about that. How did that come about?
It was a few years ago. I auditioned again through my agent. I've got a great agent. I'm with International Artist Management with Luke Chowdhury. I am. And it kind of changed my career because I was going from, you know, normal British agents, you know, Scottish agents. I've been with every one of them, and then flitted around with a couple of London agents. Settled up with this guy and went from maybe 7 auditions a year and having to get 2 or 3 of them, you know, just to get working, to 100.
Wow.
That's the difference. So if I get 1 in 10, I get 10 jobs and I work all year. And that's been the way it's worked for the last 5 years.
Really?
So it's been really, really good. So the amount of, you know, new casting directors and I mean, it's scattergun. A lot of it, you're not quite right for the part, but this guy gets me seen for a lot of productions that wouldn't have been seen for. And one of these just happened to be a Bollywood film that was shooting a couple of years ago in Russia.
Right.
So here I am. Ended up in Sardar Udam, which was the story of a guy who was at the Amritsar massacre. Waits like 30 years, flies to London and shoots and assassinated the guy who had ordered the British soldiers to open fire.
Right. Wow.
Amazing story, kind of hidden in British history, but it was like a Braveheart in India, because he is the William Wallace of this. You know, he's a proper freedom fighter who assassinated this guy because he was injured, he was a child, and he was wounded and witnessed the massacre of the, you know, peaceful Sikhs as they went to. There was no weapons. They
Yeah.
just appeared. They had a gathering. The army issued this warning, and again, it plays into the sort of Churchillian attitude towards the colonies at the time as well. Fascinating film. And to cover for London in the 1940s, they chose St. Petersburg. Big tie-up at that point with Russian and the Indian film industry. So I ended up in this epic film, and in St. Petersburg for a week to do 2 scenes. Amazing experience.
I bet
And
it
I
was
loved working
incredible, yeah.
And then a few weeks later, I got on to another one, which was 83, which is about the Indian World Cup team, Cricket World Cup team. 1983, the West Indies were the greatest team in the world. And I loved it. I grew up loving cricket and watching cricket. You know, my dad got me into it, and I played a lot of cricket. Yeah. And 1983, you know, Viv Richards, the best cricket, I think, sexy cricket, you know, rock and roll cricket that had never been so bright and fresh and exciting and dangerous as it was then, what the West Indies brought to it. An unconquerable team. And suddenly India, who were completely unfancied, got to the final and won. And this is the story of the 83 World Cup. It's beautiful. I don't do the kind of singing, dancing, you know, Bollywood films. Some of them have an aspect to that.
I was waiting.
I knew it was coming because I can't dance and I can't sing really well. Anyone that's seen me in Panto will know. But you know, suddenly you get a Glasgow Panto dame singing at you. But no, it's I kind of do the straight films. And this one's like that as well. Some of the films have got elements to it, but 83 was huge. It's on Netflix now. It's a huge film. Brilliant soundtrack. Brilliant film. So they were the first 2 films that launched me into it. And I've done 7 since then.
Really? Right.
So it's been brilliant. Yeah. And I'm good friends with a lot of the Indian casting directors, and they just rehire you. Lots of filmings now, obviously with the Russia, you know, situation. No one's gone on there, and that tie-up seems to have finished. So a lot of the films have moved to Britain, actually. So you'll see a lot of, you know, Bollywood films getting shot here, at least some scenes. So I just finished one in December. I did another one in November. And it's been great. You know, I'm playing really good parts, so I'm not just like the evil white villain the way it used to be.
I was watching another chat you'd done. The person asked you about being typecast, and you said something really funny about the thing about being typecast is the word, it's got cast in there.
Cast. Exactly. That's it. Cast is the only thing that counts. Yeah.
Do you not mind? I mean, do you feel yourself being typecast, for want of a better word, or do you mind that, or is it? And are you finding you're getting more different parts as you're getting older? Yeah,
exactly. As you get older, you get far more choice. Well, I want to move into playing policemen and things as well. Policemen and doctors, you get 3 episodes if you're in a series, or you get the whole series. I get one. I either get killed or nicked.
Yeah,
that's what happens. Everything I do, I'm always a guest star, because it's a guest starring role, as they describe it, because I can't get away with it, because I was young. I was very, very young. And even when I was 12, 13 years old, I was playing villains. Never going to be the romantic lead. You know, I remember meeting Eddie Izzard pissed in a nightclub in Edinburgh during the festival in '95, and he just got up to me and went, "Eyebrows, evil." I went, "Thanks very much." And that's kind of defined my whole career ever since. So I really don't care. So I really mean it. Typecast, I don't care. Take out type, I am cast. And I didn't mind at all. But what I do enjoy is playing the sort of roles that I wasn't really seen for or considered here. I was a leather jacket wearing motorbike bad boy punching and shagging. And now I'm in an older Lothario version of that. Slower, but still leather jacket, but sleazier. So I'm playing lots of... I'm 50 and I'm playing some of the best parts of my life as well. So I'm really pleased. So the secret to our longevity in an acting career is don't give up and stay alive.
Yeah, right.
And part of it, and what I try and do, and what I consciously try and do is seek out, new filmmakers, young filmmakers, guys that have got maybe done a couple of films that have got a really good look to it, like how we met and everything as well. I actually deliberately look for projects that interest me, that I know I could do something with. I could do something with any part you give me. Yeah. But I just love working. I love it more than anything else. I've tried lots of other things. I like business, I like this, but I'm an actor. Fundamentally, that's all I do. And when I'm on set, it doesn't matter the level of it, whether it's... I still use sort of football analogies for it, where I'm playing Champions League football or international football. That would be something like Trainspotting 2. Yeah. And then I would go to Patrick Melrose European game, and then maybe
Right.
Coronation Street or Emmerdale, then that would be sort of Premier Division.
Yeah, like
And you're playing with really good players. The rest of the people, and what you realise when you get onto that pitch is they're all the same. And if I can hold my own with those guys in these scenes, when you've got 7 cameras on you and there's 450 extras, and you've had no time to prepare, and suddenly it's on, and you're looking at some of the most famous people in the world, and you realise that you're on exactly the same playing field. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
So I will go from a sort of studenty film or a really low budget film with pals onto a big production, and for me it's exactly the same. It's just the same job, and I love it just as much. And I think that's what I bring to a lot of things, and what I hope I bring to it is that sort of positive energy that, Christ man, it's just great to be working. And having the lockdown, that I think that exacerbated it a lot for everyone. I managed to kind of work through all that as well, and did a lot of weird projects and green screen projects and remote projects. But the film industry started up quite quickly again. It changed it because there wasn't a lot of social interaction, obviously, But and that's what I love on set. I love getting on. I got on really well with the crews. I got on really well with the actors that I'm working with, all the time, no matter how difficult they can be sometimes.
Do you find you're approaching? How does your approach change, or does it change in terms of a character? In terms of when you get the script, you read it. Is there a process you go through, to get into character, or do you just find it on the day, or does it change in terms of the project?
I'm just totally instinctive when it comes to it as well. I'll have a good idea of it from the audition, and this is what I was kind of going to go on to later on a little bit as well, about what the changes that I think I've seen happen post-lockdown, and certainly in the last 10 years in the industry. I mean, I've been doing it since a long, long time, but what I have noticed is, and what's missing, is that you can be really informed on your character. You get the whole script, you can read the whole thing, you count your appearances, you see what other characters are talking about you. You can then write up your own backstory for it. You work with someone like Danny Boyle, you write a backstory, and you go with 4 pages of backstory. And that's what that's the sort of level you can go to with it. Other projects, you will just instinctively know the person. It's like Comfortable Shoes, or these awful analogies some old actors use in these workshops. Give me the character's shoes, and I'll give you the character. Fuck off. You're doing one line in fucking Taggart. Can I get the shoes? You phone wardrobe and see if you can get a pair of shoes out of the bill. Anyway, that's a side issue, but it's that kind of thing. So, or give me once I've got the right jacket, I know exactly who I am. Fuck off. Nonsense. So I think you have to just know. I know from a line. A line jumps up. My job is to make your script dance in the air. That's your actor's job. Make those words dance in the air. The best actors, you think of someone like Christopher Walken, the way he will break up a sentence that makes no sense grammatically. Is what he brings to it. That's my job. That's what the actor's job is. And what I've noticed and what I've found quite difficult, and I'm quite target driven. I've realised I'm like a salesman. I've kind of become quite target driven over the last few years, and that'll come down to getting my hit rate of 10 jobs out of 100 auditions, etc. I have to get 10% of them. And one of the things that I've noticed is that has really gone down. I was maybe at 60%, of auditions to jobs, of getting them. Previous to self-tapes.
Right.
Because you walk into a casting room and there's maybe the producer and director, or the casting director, the casting assistant, whoever's there, or all of them, and the producers sometimes, and they get a really good sense of you.
Yeah.
Of you. I've got jobs in the past, not because I was the best actor for the role, simply because I was the most enthusiastic and had done my research on it.
Sure.
And I could talk the hind legs of a donkey about the likes of Peter Manuel's, cellmate.
Yeah.
And it was Charlie Tallis. It was a character that I played previously. And he had like a couple of scenes, but I knew his whole backstory. I knew he was the prime witness in the court case, and he was his anyway. So that's the sort of level you go into. You go into a casting director with World Productions, and you talk like that. They know you've done your homework, and you've only had 2 days with the script.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So it's an informed choice. You go in there, and then the director will say to you, "It's too much, man. Just knock it back." He doesn't know this much. He's not angry. He's upset. Right, and that recalibrates your performance. You don't now get that. What you get is 1 page of the sides of the film script or the TV script, a character breakdown if you're lucky. Some of them, if you go for something like Emmerdale, they'll give you, or Coronation Street, they give you quite a detailed background on this guy, so you've got quite a good picture.
Right.
Ultimately, it's still yours, but there's a good detail there. There's a good bit of back. Most of the editions don't have that. Most of it is just, the guy is 40s, businessman, evil, or whatever it is, or into something dodgy. And you then make your choices from that. And it can go spectacularly wrong. And a case in point is, because there's no director there or producer or casting director there to go, no, Simon, no, he doesn't. Can we play it a different way? And then you can also show that number one, you can take direction.
Yes.
And number two, that you have some sort of range.
Yeah.
You're not just the angry guy. I can do the angry guy. I can do the upset bit. I can do the vengeful. But can he do it soft? Can he do it understated? Can he do it with his eyes? Because that's the thing. And that's what they look for with, face-to-face auditions. That has disappeared now because it's all self-tapes.
Sure.
So you don't get the direction and you can really get it wrong. And I went for, I think it was the Adam Key thing, This Is Going to Hurt. And I loved the book. My family are all doctors and my brother's a consultant. And the part I was going for was sort of either beginning or end of an episode, quite a big scene and really well written. Nina Gold was casting it. She's cast me in a few things. She is the top dog when it comes to casting and everything. That every time you get a call from either Robert Stern or Nina Gold's office, your heart skips a beat because it's big league. It's Premier League stuff.
Yeah.
And the part was, it's good to see you off the golf course. And a typical shitty consultant, not bothered with the mayhem that's going around in the ward.
Right.
He's coming off the golf course, probably still full of gin, and can't be bothered with this. So I did it very, very blasé. I didn't hear anything back. I wait a year. I watch it. Oh, that's that program. Because you never find out anymore. They used to tell you yes or no. Now they don't. Now a bus goes by with a poster on it, and you go, I didn't fucking get that one then.
So what is that? Something that's come out of the pandemic then, that people are just turnover?
No, that's the way it was going. That was just the way it was going. So many auditions, so many actors. Shortlists will know. If you do, I usually give every audition a week. If I haven't heard anything, if they're really keen, even to suss out your availability over the next few months or whatever. But if they're really keen, I think you always hear back quickly. If I don't hear from them within a week, I know it's gone.
Right. Okay.
Except with films. Feature films always take a wee bit longer, but that's generally the rule. Theatre are really good. Theatre parts, they will always tell you. And that's the difference between theatre and film and TV.
Yeah.
Film and TV is a bit more cutthroat. I'm sure they would get back to you, but it's much busier. I understand it completely from a casting director's point of view. And there's a couple of casting directors just now that have actually come up with a yes-no thing. Simone de Pereira Hind in Scotland, who cast Outlander, for which I auditioned 14 times and didn't get a part. Bastards. Anyway.
I remember you talking about that when we last met.
Yeah, it's now 14 because I auditioned for the new series, the prequel, and didn't get that either. So it's like Target was in the old days. You just audition for it and you don't expect to get it. And then eventually you get one, hopefully. But but they've come up with this really good yes-no thing. So you can actually track it on, there's a website that casting directors and your agent uses, and it's got your availability and everything on it. And they actually put a yes-no on that, and you can check yourself.
Yeah.
So that's a real step forward.
That's good, isn't it? It's because it's
just... it needs to be that. It needs to be that. Because
you just need an answer, don't you? I find
you need an answer because you need to put a full stop on it, and you need to also have a grieving process when you don't get it, because I know I could do every job I've ever auditioned for, and I'd be great in it. But I wasn't right for it. I've done a bit of casting, and you realise when you're in this, you know yourself. You've done it. When you're on the other side of the desk, the right person walks in and just sounds right or looks right or just has it.
Yes, totally.
And that's it. And once you've seen that person, that's the end of the casting. Nobody else is going to change your mind.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the big thing that's changed that I find quite difficult now. It's definitely affected my hit rate. Nobody knows how strong your handshake is. Little things, what you smell like, what you look like, what you bring into a room. I bring a kind of big energy to it as well. Not OTT, but I know I bring something. And I find it's 3-dimensional. And I find that self-tapes are 2-dimensional, 1-dimensional when you've not got an ident. I try to do something, you do an ident on it as well, where you would say, hi, I'm Simon Weir, I'm with International Artist Management. I'm 6'1", I'm based in London, and I'm very available. And I tend to now put them at the end of a tape rather than the beginning. Because if you're playing an American and you do your ident, and then they're going to be listening for changes in the accent and things as well. So I like to surprise them, do the acting bit first, and then there's me at the end of it as well. It's the closest I can get to be in the room. But I really do miss it. And I have noticed a real distinctive, change in my hit rate. And I'm sure that's just because I've not got any worse. I'm auditioning more than ever. But I just think that's the difference. I'm not getting feedback and a live one-to-one in the room thing. And I wish it would go back to that. Unfortunately, post-COVID, that is the biggest change in this whole industry, and it's not beneficial for actors. The good thing is you get more auditions because more casting directors can afford to see you, but they don't have to get casting rooms. They don't have to spend the money doing that.
Is that? I mean, that's one of the sort of questions I ask a lot of people about how you navigate your life and your mental health. I mean, has it had more of a detrimental effect on your mental health as an actor, or do you just say that's how it is and I've just got to roll with it now?
Yeah, I think on that, I think it's really important. Mental health there's never been such a huge focus on it. And it's very good. It's very, very good for actors because honestly, it is the loneliest job on earth because it's completely you. And no matter what anyone says, it's you that's rejected. You are not right for this part. We don't want you. And then when you get a job, every job you get, you join a cast that have been together 40 years like Coronation Street or something. You are the new boy.
Right.
And you're always going to be the new boy. It's the first day at school, every job you get, unless you're the lead. I've had a couple of really good lead roles this year, and I have felt a difference. When you're number one in the call sheet, you do feel more like the thing's kind of built around you. There's a responsibility, you know. And
to the rest of the cast and that, right?
There is, and to the crew, and there's an instant respect. For the first couple of frames, they'll look at you and go, "Can this guy do it? Ah, he's good. That's enough," and they relax.
Yeah.
Whereas every time you come into something, you have to hit the mark. You know, no pun intended, but you've got to be up to scratch for it. So it's always that. So you need to be mentally very, very robust. I say this to young actors all the time. It's not a sort of shrinking wallflower job. This is a brutal job to have.
Yeah.
So you need to be strong and you need to be able to dust yourself down. I mean, I spend maybe 2 days a week getting over jobs I didn't get, grieving for jobs I didn't get.
Really, yeah.
That's how bad it is because that's why I said how good my agent was in the first place. And it is scattergun. I know I'm not right for half of the roles I'm up for, but if I am, if you're between 40 and 55, Simon Weir is hopefully going to get seen.
Yeah,
if they're
sure.
For lots of big series, so you've got a real chance. But I know it's not right. I know what sort of parts I play. I know where my strengths and my weaknesses are, and I very rarely in the audition don't feel it. But I know I could do a great job at it. But it's the disappointment. It's just the fact that's why I have to give myself this 1 week cutoff, because mentally you obsess about it, you think about it constantly, you can't sleep. You're driving, you can't concentrate. You're working on another job. I've been in scenes, big scenes, big long speeches. I've been in rehearsal rooms I've been on stage and thinking, man, see if the crown comes back.
right, good hell, yeah.
Because I had 9 auditions. I had 9 auditions for the crown.
Yeah.
And I got 5 knockbacks, 5 different parts in one afternoon.
Wow.
That nearly put me out of the industry a couple of years ago.
That's brutal. It's just absolutely brutal, isn't it?
So I was up for a part. They phoned my agent and said, would Simon be interested in playing X? Not would he come and audition? Would Simon be interested in playing X? So I'm thinking, this is a shoe-in. Can I come meet a director? I met a director. I stood outside with the casting director, and he really filled me in, went in. The audition went really well. The next Monday, so this was on like the Thursday, the Friday, on the Monday, I got a call from the agent. Hi, can you audition for another part? Right, we're still thinking about the other one.
Right.
Sure. And the end of that week, can you audition for this part as well? They're all smaller parts, but every one of them, and this is the thing that's so hard, because I love The Crown, every one of them was the second last series. Every one of the parts went to film. And I watched all these other actors that were cast that I could have been in.
Yeah.
And then there was another part, and then when we're waiting for this one, would you do this one? This part's been rewritten, and it's based on like Andrew Neil. It's not actually him, but we're looking for a kind of that sort of newspaper guy. It's the Princess Diana stuff, of course.
Yeah.
And nothing. And at the end of it, I get lovely feedback, and I get love when I do get feedback, and I get lovely emails from casters. Simon's tape was really good, and this time this was like Outlander again. It was like, I really loved Outlander. I wanted to be in it so much because I'm a proper rabid Jacobite. So, and I'm really sort of into.
Yes, I made a note about that to ask you about that as well.
I love my historical dramas, and I was developing way before Outlander. I was developing a Culloden, Battle of Culloden film and all that. So anyway, but it's not meant to be. And what you realise is that casting directors can love you. The producers are the ones that ultimately hire you, make the decisions. And if you just don't fit into their colour palette or whatever they've got for the character in the show, whether it's the sound of your voice, the height. You might be working with actors that are half the size of you. You don't know why. You might look like their ex-husband.
Yeah, sure, right.
You know, girls might look like might look like someone they hated at school. You are completely out with any chance of influencing it, no matter how much you want it. So you have to let it go. There was the guy from Breaking Bad, the main guy, Cranston.
Yeah,
Did one of these, you know, these little clips that I see I watch these quite a lot on TikTok and Instagram, and I get quite motivated by them rather than depressed. And his very much was, you audition for something and you give them your best version of the work and you let it go.
great, right.
The caveat to that is that only works for me nowadays, now that I'm getting 70 to 100 auditions a year.
Yeah, it's easy for Bryan Cranston to say, isn't it?
Yeah. That did not work when you're getting 3 or 4 from an agent and you need to get them.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
So hard.
You know, but I just want to have every single one of them in every single show. And then of course the problem you get, so this is the difference between us and kind of other people, is if you go for a job with a company you want to work for, British Gas, you know, British Telecom, whatever the company is, and you don't get the job and you're pissed off about it, but you go and get a job for the rival company and whatever. Nobody walks past you with a bus or a t-shirt on or on your telly advertising the job that the person who got the job.
Yeah, rubbing your nose in it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, God.
So that's the mental toughness that you need. And I am just scar tissue and regret and hatred, rage and hatred for years.
Yeah.
Because I'm better than these fucking actors, and I don't want my friends who are actors to be successful. I'm like a Morrissey song. I don't want anyone to be fucking successful because I should be doing it. So I meet my pals, my old actor pals, and they go, they'll come to me, well, you're fucking pissing that. How'd you get that? Never you fucking mind. That's what it's like. That's the reality of it. You what?
Yeah.
How did he get that? How is he in fucking Thailand with Ryan Gosling? Let's go. Don't watch TV or films with me. But again, I love actors. Now, actors are my favourite people on earth, even more so than footballers. Now, when I was growing up, I was a footballer. I love actors. I just love the company. I love film people. I just love it. I love it. And if you don't, then you can't really deal with it. I mean, yes, it's good to see people you know doing really well. And my successful actor pals are all lovely, and they're dead settled and they're relaxed, and they don't have that because they've got their money, they've made their thing, they've got fame if they want it, they've got a nice lifestyle, and they do something that they absolutely love. The terrible thing is when TV shows come to an end, and it happens to us all. It happened to me with Take the High Road, which was a big Scottish soap that was on here for 25 years, and then I was in it for about 7.5, 8 years. As a regular, you know, motorbike, battered everyone, went to jail, shagged everyone, same thing, sold drugs, stole a fire engine, just did everything. I did everything I could do in it. You could possibly do on TV. And then they cancelled it, and I got a phone call from the Sunday Express, as I was about to fly out to India. Just about to fly out to India. We're thinking about the show being cancelled. And then you come back to your overdraft getting taken off you, your credit card's cancelled, and your car repossessed. That's the reality of it.
How did you cope with that? Because I imagine your whole life was sort of intertwined with it.
Really tough. I mean, I coped with it by leaving Glasgow.
Right.
And I went to London, and I was in London off and on for 12 years after that. So it was a real blow because the thing is, you were so well known up here.
Yeah.
And I'd done all the other shows because in between times, so you're only filmed for 4 to 8 months a year on that. And in between times, Taggart and everything. I'd done them all, Taggart, Monarch of the Glen, all of them. So I kind of had nowhere to go as well. So I actually ended up doing voiceovers for years in London in a studio in Soho, and kind of restarted other skills that I had as well, you know. And I actually had a bit of a holiday for a while, you know, for a couple of years, just basically barely got anything. Agents weren't interested because I'd moved to London. And it was, that was kind of the most difficult time, you know. 30s was most difficult because you kind of done everything, everyone kind of knows you, they know what you can do. There's always the next sort of great white hope comes along or whatever. And it's about enduring those times as well, but it was really difficult at the time. Because here you are walking about with a really well-known face. You know, I was getting punched in nightclubs and fighting people all the time. Because it was wild. Glasgow was wild. And I was a mad boy about town. And also, you know, on the telly. So everyone thought they knew me.
Right.
And even now, the bar is somebody out there a day and walked up when I hate you. I went, Christ, that was 20 years ago, man. So it's a funny thing, you know. It's a funny thing. So it's been a long old lesson and journey, but it's nice to be back, and that's why I guess I'm so thankful. I worked a lot when I was young. I find that with some young actors just now, there's a terrible entitlement. And I wonder if I had that when I was young. I hope I didn't. Not interested in theatre, not interested in going on stage, not interested in actually going away and, tours to bumfuck to some village hall, doing 3 shows a day. Because that's how you learn, man. That's how you learn what being an actor really is. You learn, on the outskirts. You learn doing, TIE tours. You learn the hard way. You learn on low budget stuff. You learn by not getting paid. You learn by eating crap foods. You learn by being on the road. You learn. You hone your craft and you come back better because you're lucky to be working. And that's the thing. I find this I think it's because there's too many actors, too many drama schools, too many people qualifying as actors, too many extras saying that they're actors. That was always the bane of my life. My brother's an actor. Really? What's he been in? Yeah. What did he fucking say? Big difference.
Yeah.
My brother's done 20 films. Really? Big difference. So without sounding like a miserable old sod, you're lucky if you work, and you only stay in this business if you are good to work with and you've got the right attitude. And I think you need to have those hours. It's one thing American actors don't have that we have, that they're really jealous of, and they're quite frightened of British actors. Every time I work with American guys, they're really in awe of you if you've done any theatre.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I like to do one live show a year, whether it's panto or a theatre tour. I'll always try and go back and do at least one a year. And I produce theatre as well because of that, because there was a lot of the stuff in Scotland that I didn't want to do. So there was nothing I wanted to see on stage. So I put popular shows on that I'd like. So that's a big part of it. You need to do live stuff as well. I know loads of film stars, TV stars. You'd be surprised to know they've never been on stage. That's what real acting is.
Thanks very much for watching this X-Files episode. So this is season 1, episode 13. Let me just get that right. That is Beyond the Sea. Did you watch it first time around?
I did it first, yeah. It was never really my kind of thing.
Yeah.
Watching it now, obviously it's dated, but my God, it's good. The acting is superb.
I was like, really, I usually, the last couple of podcasts I've done, we don't take the piss out of it, but we're like, oh, look how badly this is dated, or isn't this silly, or what have you. But this is the first one in a long time that I watched, and it's like, fantastic characterization, and it's playing on that ambiguity, because you can watch the entire episode and it could all just be in A. Scully's head, or this character Boggs, who's a serial killer on death row.
Oh, great, yeah, Brad Dourif, yeah.
Oh my God. And that's, I was great that you could come on and talk about that, because I saw his performance. I thought, it reminds me of Simon, really.
He's so good, it's always been absolutely brilliant. But he is in that, what a role.
Yeah.
What a role for him, because there's bits where he's twisting away, because he's literally playing all those different characters in his head.
Yeah.
And it's not just the crying and just the nose screaming, he is so in it. It's like a Gollum character almost.
Right.
He's totally possessed. He's got that anyway. He's got another other world that's suited this so well. What casting?
No, it's brilliant, and I think they really tried to get him. I say the X-Files creator Chris Carter said, we got to get Brad Dourif for this, and I think originally he said he would do it, but the producers only gave him like 4 days preparation. He was like, I'm not doing that. I need at least 2 weeks to prepare for this role, and they gave in, and it really sort of paid off, because it's just a really creepy, brilliantly prepared piece of acting, and it was also set up this episode to be a sort of showcase for Gillian Anderson as well, because she'd been a kind of obviously foil all the way through to Mulder, but she's. Again, it's a really great piece of work from her. And I guess just to say the concept of this episode is Scully's dad's died, so we get to see learn a bit about her relationship with her father, and also there's a bit of her religion in there, Catholicism, which up until now you'd not really known about. So she's in a way kind of susceptible to a type of influence that maybe Mulder's not. And then, so we get this great opening where it's like she's sort of saying bye to her mum and dad on Christmas time. He gives her a hug, but you can sense that there's some difficulty there between him respecting what Scully does for a living. You know, I think in earlier episodes, she's alluded to the fact that her dad wanted her to be a doctor and she's gone into being an FBI agent. And then you get this incredible where she goes to bed and then she wakes up and she sees her dad speaking.
And he can't speak. Yeah, he's just mouthing.
It's almost like something you see in Twin Peaks. Really disturbing.
Yeah, I was just going to say Twin Peaks. It's a real throwback to Twin Peaks, which was, for anyone that's not seen it, watch that as well. It was like a little man from another place who used to talk and walk backwards. Superb. So American Strange, I used to call it. Really weirdly done stuff that is so creepy and so out there. Brilliant.
But I thought that was really fantastic. And then you get, there's all kind of very odd shots. The director of this one's David Nutter, who did a lot of the X-Files episodes, and you get that kind of long shot of the guy putting the ashes into the water, where the family are watching him do that, where you get Beyond the Sea, the name of the episode, the music's playing, and that's one of the dad's favourite tracks. But that was kind of an odd choice as well. And then Mulder's basically convincing, it's a total switcheroo, because it's like Mulder.
It's the two belief systems, isn't it, really? Yeah.
Exactly. Mulder's gone from being a believer to being a total skeptic about Boggs, the serial killer's the possibility that he could be a psychic. And then, you have Scully in the throes of grief, who's totally susceptible to it. And again, like I said, you get these little shots of where she looks at Boggs, the serial killer character, and it's Mulder sitting there, or it's her dad sitting there, and again,
or it's her father. Exactly.
It's kind of all playing out in her head. But
it's a really good episode, and then of course in the bigger picture as well, as you've got this serial killer going about as well, who is kidnapping young couples and torturing them terribly as well. But is Boggs making up? Is Boggs in cahoots with them as well? The structure of the script is brilliant, and I was amazed at how quick it was, because I remember them being an hour-long episodes, and they were. It's much quicker, and it ties up at the end.
Yeah, we spoke about that on the pod in the past, how they've basically got 42 minutes to wrap this whole thing up. And there's an advert, break in there, and there'll be adverts to make it up to an hour.
Yeah, of course.
But, this one is one that it felt really well paced. And, sometimes you see the kind of Monster of the Week ones where it's like, God, they've come to that decision quite quickly, or
they've had to wrap it up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. But this is fantastic, and where you kind of get to a point with it where Mulder's totally been shot, so he's totally out of the picture. So it now is just this game between Scully and Boggs, the serial killer character, and I just love the kind of payoff at the end where Boggs just wants someone to be at his execution, and he's like, if you come to this, if you see me die, you'll get the message. And then she just doesn't go through with it, and he's left there to basically die on his own. And it's just like such a brilliant turn of the knife at the end. And
the way they gas him, just the way the gas is, even the way it's all filmed, it's just brilliant. But what I loved about it also, it's one of these things that kind of haunts you from growing up in 80s and 90s television as well, is very much the spirits of the dead. And the fact, and one of the things I've always wondered, because my wife's obsessed with serial killers and serial killer programs and things as well, and having played a lot of really dark, bad people, you do wonder if these people are, even the sociopaths and the psychopaths who enjoy torture and hurting people, is there a point at that end of life where they come for him?
Right.
Or where he starts to see the dead? Is that conscience? Or is that actually the spirits of people? It was like the Indiana Jones thing, the spirits would whirl around from the ark and then turn on you. I've always loved that image. I'm a Catholic as well, so I've got that background. Very bad Catholic, very Catholic. Backing up with that background. So it's the same sort of thing, so I get it. And I've always had that in my mind, that surely even the most evil people on earth, when it comes to that point, they must go, oh, no.
Yeah. No, I could totally... And that's what's so great about that shot, when he's walking down death row and he just sees all these people looking at him, who he's killed.
Loved it. And in fact, even when they put them on, because they were going to kill him before, and part of it is the torture for him mentally, is that he's been in this situation and been reprieved, and now he's back in it again. And for hell, for him, is to be put into the the killing room and brought back again. And back into the killing room and brought back again. That's the real torture of... I mean, death row is a mental torture as well. They don't know when it's going to happen. And you can be there for years and years and years. How many of them have been in death row for 20 years, then suddenly it's your last meal time and it's go tomorrow. So it's a real... I think as a sort of plot device, death row works in films. Look at the Green Mile and these things. Death row works. American prisons things work. But someone that can reach out from the prison, it's like what's the film with Denzel Washington where he sings "Time Is on My Side"?
Oh God! You know, I'm on such a Denzel thing at the minute. I just watched all the Equalizer films, and I'm like, God, he's good, isn't he? He just really elevates that sort of genre.
Never done a bad film.
I don't know that one though. That's great.
I'm gonna as we speak, talk amongst yourselves, kids. It's a device in a film, and it's brilliant. And it's again a sort of John Hobbs serial Fallen. So in Fallen, I'm sure the same thing. I'm sure somebody's getting killed, a serial killer's getting killed or whatever, and he sings "Time Is on My Side," the Rolling Stones one. And every time someone says it or touches somebody, his evil continuing spirit goes into them as well, and they become the murderer.
Right. Fantastic. Yeah, I've not seen that. I remember it being like a sort of post-Seven thing, and it's like Seven, but it's got Denzel in.
Yeah, exactly. Fallen is wonderful. It's wonderful. A great casting as well. But is that episode 13 as well, has that same sense to that. That's where that could have gone. But the fact that the serial killer was very good as well, because he is completely remote from it as well, but you see how mad and manic he is with the hatchet scene, and then it's just little clever things all the way through it, script points all the way through it. You didn't see that coming. I don't want to ruin it for those that have not seen it. Watch this episode, because there's lots in it where you don't know what is true and what's not, but it's not a stupidly confusing one. The linear approach to this story is really, really clever. Really, really clever. And it reminded me of a lot of the 90s films. And watching it again was great. I couldn't watch Gillian Anderson and things for years.
Really? How come?
So, there's a story.
Oh, go on. Go on.
Because of something called the House of Mirth. Now,
the Terence Davies.
Yeah, Terence Davies. So I auditioned for Terence and auditioned for a part in it, and was offered it from an agent. Part of, I think it was Ned Silverton as the part. It's always stuck in my mind. Ned Silverton, I think, was the name of the character. Okay. And for one reason or another, my agent went on holiday or something happened, and I didn't hear from them. I'd done the press. Right. I've still got a Sun article somewhere with me, looking at it, and she'd just been voted the sexiest woman in the world at the time. X-Files and the High Road Thug or something. I can't remember what the title was. Some awful title. It's me in a leather jacket and a motorbike, and her and the X-Files, and we're coming together, and I had to read her romantic love poetry, and we were on a boat, and we're going to south of France to film it. And I'm waiting for all this detail to get sorted out. My agent phoned up and said, "I'm sorry, it's not happening. I don't know what's happened." Eventually got a really nice letter from the producers and a wee note from Terence as well. And just sort of didn't work out. And something the long and the short of it was, I'm not going to say, but another company had put money in, and it was a French company, and this French guy came with it.
Right. Oh, absolutely gutting.
He did my part. And I was utterly devastated. He never did that much.
Yeah, I'll look him up after this. And
He was a model. He was a model, I think, from it as well. And it was just one of these things that obviously nothing had been signed, nothing had been done. I shouldn't have been allowed to go and do the press. I shouldn't have, my agent at the time, we then parted ways very soon afterwards. It was one of those ones where you go, oh man, this is when you need thick skin. So I didn't watch the X-Files for years because of that.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, you would have nightmares about that.
Funny, isn't it? I've got the things. I think it's like a football or whatever. Again, back to football, but that analogy of remember the bad games. You remember something when you kick yourself about it for doing something wrong for years. It's like if you get a line wrong on stage, and you beat yourself up for it forever. But you're still speaking. You're still doing the next scene. You're still doing that. But it's that one that went wrong.
Yeah, you're still thinking about that one.
But with theatre, that's the great thing. You can fix it next time. But I'll watch films and go, I wish I hadn't done that look. I wish I hadn't done that. I did something that wasn't quite right. I'm really critical. I love watching myself to be critical, because you can't not watch yourself, otherwise you can't learn.
Sure.
I always watch what I do, and I go to all the screenings and premieres because I watch and I watch it. If the DVD's out, I'll get the DVD and I'll watch it. Always something you can pick up from it.
What have you seen recently that you've liked? I mean, it doesn't have to be, could be a book or, art or TV or film, anything that sort of stood out that you've really enjoyed.
I was watching the other day some 70s film, I can't remember what it was, but a cowboy film, a western film, but the fighting in it was proper fighting.
Good, yeah.
It was a Michael Caine film I watched again, and it was sore, like Get Carter, and the fighting looks sore.
Yes, yeah.
Beach is piss stained, it's pouring down, it's sleet rain. He's fighting with a guy in Newcastle. The wind's howling.
Yeah, dirty fighting, not glossy. Yeah, I'm into a bit of that. That's what we need.
Totally.
Yeah, very nice.
But it's you punch something, your hand hurts. It's that. It's proper. And now I find it all a little bit anodyne and a little bit rehearsed, and it looks, everyone's a muscle man, and they throw themselves out. I can't watch modern films, action films, because of it. I'm probably talking myself out of action movies, because I want to get into geriatric films next. I'm going to build myself up and become a geriatric action star for Liam Neeson.
You know what? For years, I've always said that I mean, there was something about 20 years ago they were going to do Batman, but as like an old guy, like Dark Knight Returns, where he's basically like 70 and he's coming back and he's trained. And they were talking about getting Clint Eastwood in it, but I think this is, I could see you up for that.
Love it.
They're shooting it all in Glasgow anyway, aren't they, at the minute? It's like all doubling for 70s.
Of course, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
70s New York. So, yeah, I can see you definitely in that part.
Yeah, buckfast Batman. Yeah, that's good, man. So I can kind of see in the future is that it's become a little bit fight rehearsed, if you know what I mean, as well. It's like it's some of the art of it's kind of taken away. I did a film recently that, again, it was sort of back to basics. It was like I did a 70s exploitation film called Psycho Sex Dolls.
Oh, right.
I did recently, which was wild shoot. David Wilde was the director, actually, just perfectly named. And I've worked with him like 3 or 4 times before. And I did that, and then I went on to a Christmas film with the National Theatre.
Oh, I saw that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. The juxtaposition of the two of them was brilliant. And I thought, that is what. This is there's another Welsh character called Juice Terry Lawson, and his catchphrase is "Spice of Life," and that is the spice of life. Yeah. That's what I've found in the last 4 to 5 years of my career, even through COVID. I've worked on some really interesting stuff. I've done some great stuff that I've really enjoyed because I've had a ball.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying myself more than ever before, and I'm still getting offered really good stuff. And that one was like something that you go, do you know what? You need to have big balls and guts to do this film. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Do it because you're scared of it. Do it because you have to do it. Do it because you're the only person that should be doing it. So, put your money where your mouth is this time.
Fantastic.
And you know what? One of the funniest films I've done for ages. So it's been great, man. It's been great.
Oh,
so who knows what's going to come up next? I've got a film, I think, in February. I've got a film that was cancelled from last year. I've got a bit on that down in Bristol. And I have nothing at the moment booked in.
Okay.
Which is great. That's another thing about being mentally strong. Don't panic when there's nothing in the diary.
Yeah. No, that's good. Thanks so much for this, Simon. This has been absolutely, just brilliant. We got through so much. I've not asked you about...
I'll tell you very, very quickly. The Albert Pyon film was a lovely man, lovely director. The worst film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was like a bad tagger.
I've been trying to get hold of it because I've been reading about
it's like a really bad tagger.
Charlie Sheen was trying to go to like Easter House and sort of try and get some drugs or something.
That was all true.
Was it?
Yeah, that was all true. We Stephen McCall was out with them. We joined them later on in their Chaos nightclub in the VIP room. And my friends ditched him and said, your pal's a fucking prick.
Right.
I mean, that's Charlie Sheen.
Right.
How come he's calling himself fucking Carlos? He's getting a doing. So they were going to batter him. So we left him. Because he had this Hawaiian shirt on, red-faced. I just couldn't wait because I loved Platoon.
Yeah.
And I loved his family. I loved all his work, actually, Charlie Sheen. And he was great at first, but then he became a dick.
Yeah.
So we all ditched him. All the Glasgow actors all ditched him. And he then went to the infamous night in Glasgow where, some hookers ripped him off and then ended up smoking crack in an all-night shop and a proper star. That's what I mean. The 90s, the 90s, you bastards. The 90s was the time. That's when
we'll not see you there like again.
Hollywood stars come and smoke crack in the middle of Glasgow. There we go.
Fantastic.
So so it was fab. So the worst film ever made, but you must watch it for a laugh.
Yeah.
It's like a bad tagger with a blue filter through it.
Right.
Strangest film ever.
Definitely going to get that.
Strangest film ever. I think they dubbed my voice in it as well. Some fucking German did my voice. However, there we go. I still did a film with Charlie Sheen. So I have now moved 5 steps closer on the Kevin Bacon test.
Yes.
The degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm 1 away. So it was worth it for that alone.
Believe Me is written and edited by me, Chris Boyd, with production support from Steve Marshall. The music is by Johnny Boyle, and our logo is by Russ Brown. See you out there next time.